Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I'm your host, Larry the Chupacabra, and today we're gonna take a look at a more laid-back and relaxing title. We're going to look at Earthtongue, which is a game that was made by a friend of mine from the Twitters, named Eric Ermit, or as I know him, Eric Hornby, and it's also got some music by D.W. O'Boyle. And Earthtongue's an interesting title. It's kind of like a page out of like a Star Trek episode where you play as like an intergalactic, like trans-dimensional researcher that doesn't have like a physical form, and you like observe planets and you occasionally interfere with their evolution in order to keep things running the way that they should. So we're just gonna jump in here and find ourselves a fresh, new, juicy planet in order to do our intergalactic research. Yes. Alright, so our planet is generating in the background with all of our little hills and peaks and valleys. And while we wait for the various life, like this little egg here, to spawn and begin to hatch, I suppose we can just start with the obvious. And one of the first things that caught my eye when Eric just got started developing this game was he has quite a knack for making eye-drawing pixel art in the background, like this gigantic honkin' moon here, this blue moon, and then they got like this Jupiter-type planet in the background. It's good stuff. So we've started to get some mold immigrating to our lovely little galactic planetoid. And I'm gonna grab up a few of these mold spores so it spreads a little bit. And we've also got some cute little beetles and a Nutrafol that has just fallen to the intergalactic soil. So our job is, we're like some sort of researcher, like I was saying, and we want to see life on this lovely intergalactic planetoid grow and thrive and reproduce and survive and not get murdered by, you know, time and space and other critters. So we, like, periodically intervene on their behalf and help them grow like we're researchers taking care of a massive, like, biodome or something, kinda like the movie, but without all of the nude partying. So I've got a couple of these little beetles here that hatched out of the egg from way back over here. So what I gotta do is I gotta find some type of food source for these bad boys. In this case, some lovely pink slime mold. And I gotta hope that they eat it, and then they fornicate for our amusement, because I know that you guys and gals, being folks from the internet, are into that sort of thing. And they'll hopefully lay some eggs and keep their species going while I try to spread more and more of this slime. So I suppose we should take a little tour. The planet wraps around on itself, and we should try to figure out if there's any other plants that have immigrated here, or maybe even some more insects, because so far it just looks like it's the blue beetles, the like blue roach beetles, which are fine. I mean, one of Larry's favorite colors is blue. You probably could have figured that out from the style of my thumbnail, or my little Chupacabra icon. But, you know, variety is really the spice of life, and one of the things that we have at our disposal is we have these little star symbols, and every so many hundreds of years in our timeline, in the upper right hand of the corner, we get extra little interventions that we can do, like things like import a different breed of bug. Like here, we got a little fly wasp thing. Not really sure what the little flies, what they feed on. So I'm actually going to bring him over to where all these beetles are, and let's pull these beetles out of this hole. They like holes for some reason, but if they're in a hole, they can't properly fornicate for my amusement. And in fact, I'm going to put them up on this hill, where they're far less likely to get murdered in a hole somewhere. There we go. They should, hopefully within the next couple hundred years, hump and produce another egg sac, and then I'll have lots of food for the other denizens of this planet to sit and enjoy. I'm gonna just have to assume that our little fly plant here, our little fly friend, I'm gonna assume that he eats either slime or blue beetles. That's pretty much all I've got for the moment. But while we're waiting for them to do something biological, let's see if we can import some... we got wind cone fungus that has been imported. Where... oh, here it is. This is a different-y sort of fungus, I think. There's different sorts of plants, and they all do something a little bit different. This one looks like it's like a fence or lattice-type fungus. Not really sure how it reproduces, though. Because, like, some fungus, it's got, like, deep roots into the ground, so it lasts longer before it has to migrate horizontally. And then you've got some that have, like, really deep roots, so we can get down to all these nutrients in the soil. Like, all these little blue speckles are different nutrient that has fallen from the heavens that the plants can use to eat and grow and not get murdered by the elements as I slowly move my beetle species along. Uh-oh, the fly is dead. Well, the fly was a failed experiment. I'm not too surprised. It's kinda hard to, it's really hard, actually, to... oh, see, here we got another fly, but it doesn't matter. I don't really know what flies eat. But, so that's one of the things, like, if you don't get two of a species, migrating or importing in together, sometimes there's just, you're just not gonna have very good luck trying to get them to survive. So actually, I'm gonna bring my little beetle friends. Where are you, my beetle friends? You're hiding from Larry. Oh, you laid an egg finally. Fantastic. Come fornicate over here in this part of the map. There we go. Put you over here. And so this whole game, it's really you're like a kid doing like a merit badge, and you're trying to watch different insect species live, reproduce, and all of their different behaviors inside of a very controlled environment. So we've got some of those like little mushroom type fungi here. And they're also reproducing with those tiny little spores. Presumably some type of critter really likes that type of environment with mushrooms as opposed to pink slime. Although I don't know what the problem is. Pink slime, it's very nutritious. I mean, it's good for the intestinal tract because it dissolves it, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh yeah, here you go. So you can see these mushrooms, they have the ability to sink their roots deep into the soil so that they can get at all those nutrients, so I won't really have to worry about manually spreading them at all while they do their thing. So I think I saw a hungry pod down here immigrate. I'm trying to remember what type of plant that was. I don't think it was the one that I thought it was, although there's this gigantic thing. What is this? Land my little fungal mold spore and grow. Oh, maybe that was it right here. So the hungry pod is an interesting plant. It's basically a Venus flytrap that requires insectoid sacrifices or snacrifices in order to live. You gotta feed it. And the most useful thing to do with your dead insects, like this bad boy right here, is whenever it's done growing, I'm going to feed it the dead fly and see what that gives us. Oh, and hey, we have another fly. Where did our other fly go? We have another fly over here somewhere. Look, flies! Hump each other. Do it. You know you want to. You know you want to save your species. If you don't, who will? Because Shatner doesn't do that anymore. Oh, this beetle just died. Alright, that's more food for the hunger pod. Here it is. So you see, I can drop the dead beetle, and then its mouth closes, and now it's not hungry anymore. It won't try to feed on our flesh in the darkness, forever consuming our souls in intergalactic torment, or something poetic along those lines. Oh, there's another hungry pod over here. You, living beetle. Your food now. There we go, perfect. Just what the doctor didn't order, because that's a little homicidal. Oh, really, flies? Why are you dying? Here, go eat one of the beetles or some shit. It's not that hard, you little bastard. So anyway, as you start to take care of different plants and animals, and feed them to each other because they're delicious, you start to get, like, entries inside your field journal as if you're in, like, an investigative video game where you're like Sherlock Holmes or something, and it gives you little tidbits as you go. So, this is basically what kind of leads you through this universe. So, entry 1, I have awoken on a fresh world, only recently affected by panspermia. If there is any insect life yet arrived, I should probably guide it to some mold to eat, lest it starve before the species can take a foothold in these nasty locations. And then, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. And then you can, as your different creatures last for a certain number of years, like 1500 years, then you get an entry in your research journal. Entry on pink mold. Pink mold is the most common mold and often the first to pioneer a presence on a new world. It survives by soaking nutrients and moisture from the soil below it. Roots can stretch across vast horizontal distance, but it must rely on spores to spread by its caps to travel across an elevation. Spores generally tend to only reach locations directly adjacent to the mold's flower. So yeah, you can get some, like, information on these different critters. And also, like, the different molds and stuff. Still not 100% certain how to keep all the creatures in this game alive. Maybe there's, like, a hint in here, so... the random chance of further panspermia is unlikely to happen often. Instead, I should consider intervening. I might select to import a new bug, a new fungus, or cause a weather effect. These actions may do marvelous things for this ecosystem's balance. These interventions exert me, however, based on the type and specificity, so I shall require time to rest and observe in between my dealings. Alright. So that kind of explains where our interventions come from. And then, entry number 3, Life Part 1. There are so many diverse forms of life. Everything I see here can be divided into 2 kingdoms, fungi and bugs. It seems that all fungi require both nutrient and moisture to survive. Thankfully, organic nutrient appears to fall steadily from the sky, though I cannot possibly divine as to why this is so. Alright, so there's like something in the sky that drops nutrients. Oh, this is the one I already read. Bugs are a very different form of life. Compared to the fungi, it seems they must consume other life to survive. Their diets are either herbivorous, detrivorous, or carnivorous, or mixed. Instead of reproducing via spores, they do so by laying an egg, a cluster of eggs, after becoming old enough. Alright, so that kind of tells us how, like, they have to get a certain age. And if I remember correctly, the nutrient that falls from the atmosphere in this game is caused when, like, little microorganisms in the air, eat up different gaseous leavings of other creatures that get stirred up from the lower atmosphere, and then they poop it down onto the surface, bathing the landscape in a nutrient-rich poo butter. And I guess that's how it goes. You know, I think these little flies require something dead to feed on. That's the only thing I can think of, is that these flies feed on detritus. And they don't have anything dead because oh, here's a dead thing. Let's go put all the dead stuff together in one place, so if we do get another fly, we can try and keep it alive. Oh hey, we got a snail. I think snails are, herbivores. I could be wrong. I don't know a lot about snails, other than if you salt them, they shrivel and die from a chemical reaction in their skin. But I'm fairly certain that they primarily eat plants in their natural environment. So hopefully he sticks around and doesn't just keel over randomly. Oh, here's a fly. Look, here's a little fly. Feed on the corpses, my fly companion. Feed on them and be happy and jolly and totally not homicidal. Like, the praying mantis friends that you sometimes have. So this is a very relaxing game. It's kind of like you just chill at the end of the day and you kind of experiment and fart around with the different plants and trying to get them to grow and interact. The only issue that I've found is that unless you try to, like, see if someone wrote a wiki about this, maybe even Eric himself wrote something, it can be really hard to get any of these animals to stay alive. And the research journal I've found isn't the most helpful thing, because stuff has to exist on this planet for like 5,000 age years up here, and that's sometimes a really tall order. Like, I've managed to keep these beetles, these blue beetles, alive for a long time, but I always, like, run out of nutrients, and I run out of, like, slime mold for them to feed on and stay alive. And then they end up all just starving to death or dying of old age before reproducing. And I was just never able to get very far in this game. It didn't, something about the logic or something, it just didn't really work out for me. I don't know why. But it's not a super expensive game. I think this is like, what, $5 or $10? Let me check real fast. Earthtongue. And it's kind of just one of those games that you can kick back and watch while— oh, the frickin' snail died. You little bastard. What do you eat, snail? Jeez. But it's just one of those games that you can kind of pop in at the end of a day, just kind of chill, maybe listen to an audiobook or watch a movie, and then periodically check back over, see what your critters are doing, see if they've been fornicating or reproducing in other ways to create a new colony of super mutant beetles to one day take over the universe. Oh, what is this? We got like fire or something over here. That's weird. And one of our murder plants needs a sacrifice or a snacrifice. So let's come over here, pop this in here. So yeah, not a bad game. Very relaxing. It's got a nice tone and ambiance to it. I don't know if there's a lot of— okay, so it's $5. It's not $10. It's $5 with a downloadable soundtrack, which is kind of cool. I just don't know, like, if there's an end point to this necessarily, or if it's not particularly easy to really keep a lot of these creatures alive. It's one part luck, one part strategy once you kind of figure all that stuff out. Personally, I kind of enjoyed it, but it's not really something I would come back to an exorbitant lot. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me, Larry the Chupacabra, and checking out Earthtongue, a title by Eric Hornby, also known as Eric Ermit, with music by D.W. O'Boyle. And I'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're interested in this game, for various reasons, like feeding various monstrosities, the corpses of your creations, like these little hunger pods, then you can grab that in the description. Links are down there. This is a $5 title. And if you're just kind of looking for a chill out game, this would definitely be for you. If you need something with a little bit more stuff going on, you might probably want something a little different. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Don't be strangers, and bye.